Winners and profitable traders are not made in the classroom. They're not made in theory land. They are made in the markets, in application. We see these guys on Twitter that are just these theory nerds in trading. They know everything about everything, all the ICT concepts and all the fancy terminology and all the turtle soup this and sweep that. Look, there is good information, sure, but traders are made in application. To have one profitable setup that is so easy to learn and is so simple to apply, but you just need to be restricted enough to follow it. For example, pro trend supplies on a higher time frame, refine down to M15. Once you've identified your POI, wait for an that is a high quality trade. And all of you probably understood what I just said. If you've made one payout in your life and then you go blow it, do you not think that's maybe very stupid? If you made 10K in your normal 9-to-5 job, will you then go throw it on a Rolex? Probably not. So why is the trader's payout perceived differently? A lot of people in this generation are snowflakes. They think they are special. They think they're different. I have ADHD. I get distracted easily. They use any card that they can to basically say I'm different. Things don't usually work out for me. I never really have good luck. The other three that I'm going to list, you're going to start saying, okay, this one is probably me, and you need to break out of it because you're just going to go from course to course to course and you won't realize that the issue was. So I've spent a lot of money on my own personal development and personal education. And I don't say this as an exaggeration just because I'm on a podcast. This is truly, I swear to God, I literally swear, I've spent over $100,000 on my personal education outside of university. When I add in my university, it becomes a lot more. And this is to say, one thing that I'm good at, if there's anything that I'm good at, is being a student and knowing how to learn. Now, obviously, when we are in the trading space, our job, our goal is to become profitable, but therefore our goal is also to grow because no one is born a profitable trader. And as we discussed in the previous solo shoot, that there is no natural talent. There is no God-given gift. You have to learn the art of trading. You have to learn the skill of trading. And there is multiple facets to this skill of trading, and you have to learn in every department, whether it's your technicals, whether it's your mindset, whether it's your approach to the markets, whether it's your approach to learning. There's so many verticals that we have to master. There's so many things that we have to learn. And that's why I think trading is one of the hardest things. And well, it's an interesting one because trading is like, it's the hardest way to make easy money. And the reason I say that is because it's very, very hard for a long time. But once you cross that barrier, it's very easy to make money. Then it's literally just pressing buttons and following a plan. But getting to that point is very hard. And because I've spent so much time being a student, pretty much the majority of my life, not only just going through the schooling system, high school, GCSE and so forth, in which I did excel. I had top grades, all A stars at GCSE, all A's at A level. I did as best as I could, and that comes from the family background that I have, and the immigrant mindset of education is the key to escaping poverty. Education is the key to a form of success, and that's what I put my time and effort into, and that's what also my family put extra resources into, private tuition and these kind of things. So one thing that I got very good at over the years was being a conformist, which is not a good thing, but also, well, in my opinion, it's not a good thing. I like to be a nonconformist. By nature, I'm a nonconformist, and I think the nonconformist mind is what you probably are. If you're watching this video and you're not adhering to your job, you're not adhering to your lectures, you're not so focused on university, of course you need to settle what you need to do. You need to excel in whatever you're putting your time and effort into. You don't want to just be a bystander passively and hoping that something's going to play off. No, excel in everything you're doing. You also probably know deep down you deserve more, you want more out of life, and you know the system is not catering for that. So one thing you have to get good at if you want to be a nonconformist and you want to be successful in life, you have to be good at learning. And something that I got good at in my university days and also out of university with all the private coaching I've had, with all the consultings I've had, everything that I've done, the masterminds that I've done, everything that I've put money into, not a single one has given me a negative ROI. And believe me, just like you, I've invested in the wrong mentor. I've invested in scumbag coaches. I bought the shitty courses. And it's not to say we're immune to that and it can't happen to anyone. It's more a mindset of I can be a victim and blame the education, blame the course provider, blame my coach, or you can have a winner's mindset, which is an ability you all have within you. You just have to unlock it. And no matter where you end up, you will be a winner. You will find success. And just look at the schooling system. If you come from the public schooling system, you know pretty much it is crap. The schooling system is designed to make you a worker. The schooling system is designed to make you a conformist. The schooling system is designed to put you in a box, to think in a certain way, to behave in a certain way, and to perceive freedom and success as a very specific way. Meaning, if you can get a mortgage and you can get a good job, you get a respected career, and you can pay your bills and rent a car, you are a success. That's a failure because, to be honest, what's the difference between a slave and a guy on minimum wage? Well, not to be harsh or not to be judgmental or anything like that. It's more to say The people that are paycheck to paycheck in this day and age, the people that have gone through the schooling system and adhered to it and listened like a good student, and that are working regular jobs, they are paycheck to paycheck. They can barely afford a vacation. They can barely afford to breathe because they are literally surviving. And as each paycheck comes, that day the bills go out and they are left with basically nothing. The moment you have a few kids, you are really struggling to stay afloat. And that's why majority of households in the US have debt. However, this same schooling system has birthed some of the pioneers in this world. The same schooling system has founded many, many millionaires, billionaires, Fortune 500 CEOs, and big industry shakers. And that's got nothing to do with the teachers. That's got nothing to do with the curriculum. The same schooling system, the same input, and we have different outputs. So why is that? And remember how previously I spoke, as humans, all we can do really is synthesize our inputs and create them into outputs. And in that process of synthesizing, we are going to have behavioral changes. We are going to have emotional responses. We are going to have resistance. We are going to have confirmational biases. There's a lot that goes on in our mind, but in reality, it's just what we take in versus what we put out, meaning behavior and actions. So therefore, it is imperative what we put into our minds. It is imperative the friends we have around us, the confidence that people around us put in, the judgment we receive from other people, the content we consume, the books we read, the movies we watch, everything you are putting in, you are designed to synthesize that and put it out as outputs. Now, you can synthesize the bad inputs of social media. That's going to be the dopamine addicting billion-dollar algorithms that are literally designed for you to stay on the apps for as long as possible so they can shove advertisement in your face. So what are they going to do? They are going to push short form content that is hyper addictive, hyper stimulating, that is going to keep you addicted. And that dopamine response you're going to get is the same response chemically in your brain that you would get from achieving a real life goal. And your brain does not know the difference. So there's two important lessons here. It is imperative we control what we consume. It is imperative the inputs that we put into our mind, just like you have junk food for your body, you have junk for your mind, and that is more detrimental because it leads to emotional responses. Inputs lead to emotions. Emotions lead to chemical changes. Chemical changes lead to further emotions, and those emotions eventually lead to behavioral changes, and those behavioral changes shape your life. The habits of day to day is your reality. And the habits you had 1 year ago, you are living as a result of that today, as a result of the things you used to do. So therefore, the things you are doing today, that is the life you're going to live in the future. That's one takeaway. So out of the dozens and dozens of prop firms that exist in the whole space, who can we really trust? Whether they use slippage, whether they use types of drawdown, unrealistic trading conditions, every single prop firm has hidden tricks. So after thorough research and speaking to a lot of traders, Alpha Capital is definitely the best prop firm in the space. So apart from their no commissions, low spread, no slippage, great reputation, never denying a payout, because you are a Titans of Tomorrow viewer, you get a special discount on every evaluation just using the link or using the code TOT for Titans of Tomorrow. The other takeaway is, despite the same schooling system, how do we have some people that are stuck in a slave reality because they can barely get by and they are struggling to pay for their rent, they are struggling to pay for their bills, but they followed the school system. They learned their theory, they learned their Pythagoras, they learned all of that stuff. They got okay grades at school, but they are struggling to survive in this day and age. And that's because the schooling system is a matrix. I don't want to sound like Andrew Tate or anything like that, but the reality is, I feel like I'm someone that's qualified to say this because I did it. I did the whole schooling system, and then I did an additional 6 years at university at a hard degree that is dentistry. And then I came out a qualified dentist. So when I see the conformist way that the society is, the matrix of school, the matrix of university, I've seen all that it is. But one thing to note is, I don't want to say that I'm better than anyone else, but I went to the same university as all of my classmates, but I'm the only one out of the whole year group, out of the whole university pretty much, that has become a millionaire before the age of 30. In fact, I became a millionaire in my last year of university. And that's got nothing to do with the environment I had. That's got nothing to do with the system I was in. And you look around and you look at the hyper successful individuals in our society that also went to the same public schooling system. Meaning to say, it is the mindset you have that is going to shape your reality. And what I don't want you to do, because it's very easy, and as I go through a list of mindsets, you are going to relate to the second, third, and fourth, and probably the fifth. I don't want you to be the first category, because we all go through life passively. It's our default setting to be very passive, to let life happen to us, to be very go with the flow. And what we really need to do is put a little bit of urgency, put a little pressure on ourselves, because under pressure creates diamonds, as you know. And that pressure is going to be when you are active. You need to think with urgency. You need to think with time is running out. I'm only getting older and I have so much to achieve, and the things I want to achieve are important. It's not a materialistic lifestyle goal I have. It's a goal of, if your parents aren't retired, why are you chilling? Why are you still hanging out on the weekend? If you have siblings and they are still going through the schooling system and you haven't set up anything for them, you should set up something for them. By the time they graduate, you have to say, you don't have to go to work a crappy job, come work with me. If you are a married man, let's say, and your wife is still working, of course, if she wants to, she can, but you should not make it a requirement for her. It should not be a need. You should handle your business as a man and say, I can take care of the house. There are so many reasons you should feel an urgency to get going and really learn and really grow, because there are so many things money can solve. And a lot of people can say, oh, Waqar, you care too much about money. You focus too much about money. Well, the reality is, I'm probably the one that cares least about money, because if you see the way I throw money, you see the way I spend money, you see the way I, without thinking, give to charity. And I'm not going to say too much more on that because that is private. But the way I take care of the loved ones around me, the way I say, hey guys, let's go on holiday to my brothers. Hey guys, let's do this. The way I cover the table bill, regardless, whichever table I'm on, whether it's people I've just met, whether it's a group of friends, whatever it is, I will always be the first to put my card down and pay that bill. And that's because I don't care about money. That's because I focus on my career. I focus on myself. I focus on earning so that I do not need to care about money. But I remember when I used to care about money a lot when I was a student, and I had to literally calculate, can I afford to buy the chicken, or do I have to buy something cheaper and just focus on pasta and something like that? That's when I cared about money. So you need to focus on your career. You need to focus on yourself so that one day you do not need to care about money. That is not a money-orientated mind. That is a success-driven mind, so that you do not need to focus on the matrix that is money. And the best way I want to display this mindset that I want you to have, and I want you to think of it aggressively, and I want you to think of it with purpose, and I want you to think of it today with urgency, because I don't want you to sit through podcast after podcast and just get some entertainment through education and kind of fool yourself into thinking this is productive. Because the reality is, watching content online is very productive. It made me who I am, to be honest. My whole university degree, everything that I learned in university, by the way, was pretty much all online. It was all through YouTube videos. It was not through books, and it was not through my lectures. And everything that I've learned to shape me who I am, for my mindset, for everything I do, the way I carry myself, whether it's in business, whether it's in trading, the internet raised me. So therefore, content is imperative, but you want to be actionable. You want to be proactive. You want to be consuming with intent, because I've seen so many people that are these self-help junkies that simply go through content and watch content after content. Watch the good guys. You watch those, the Charlie Morgans, the Alex Hormozis. They watch the Andrew Tates and the Iman Gajis and the Hamzas and all of these great people online. They have a great message, but you don't do anything about it. And then you're 1 year later still consuming it, and you probably know it so well that you could probably speak about it yourself. But have you shaped your reality any different? Well, no, because you haven't taken action. So it's important to consume good content, which is the purpose of this show, which is the purpose of my message. I want to put good content out there so that you can come and watch this podcast on a weekly basis and take something away that will improve your life. That's why I bring the best traders I can find. That's why I find millionaires. I've had 2 billionaires on the show now. I find the best people I can to bring you value so that you can do something with your life with this free, amazing content, I believe. But it requires you to do the second part, which is have a winner's mindset, which is have the correct mindset so that you can be actionable and not just be consuming and basically productively procrastinating. And those of you that really think about that sentence will know exactly what I mean. Now, do you know about this guy? His name is Roger Bannister. He was a British middleweight distance runner and neurologist who became famous for the first person to run a mile in under 4 minutes. And this was in 1954. So the 4-minute mile was deemed something impossible. It was after scientists were trying to break it, even down to the shoes people were wearing. They were trying to optimize everything to break the 4-minute mile, and it was deemed impossible. It was deemed physiologically impossible. And Mr. Bannister came along and said, well, no, I don't conform to this. And he made it his life's mission to break this 4-minute mile. So Roger saw something that was considered a limitation on Earth, and he's got the mindset of, it doesn't matter what people say, I will win. I will find a way. Unless it breaks the laws of physics, I will find a way. And there are a few people in our generation that are like this. Elon Musk, he says, okay, you think I can't put rockets on Mars? Watch me. And there are certain individuals that are driven by manic, and they are driven by a way of, I will win and I will prove people wrong. And obviously, you have these people that we look at around the world that are just figureheads, pioneers, that are just exceptional individuals. But this is also down to a normal level. You probably know at least one or two people in your life that you've come across that have this absolute winner's mindset that is, no matter my environment, no matter what someone tells me, I will win and I will find a way. And they will actively go out of their way to prove people wrong. And that's the absolute winner's mindset. And this is one of 5 mental frameworks that I want to focus on. And this one is referred to as positive active. Is the idea of I will show people, I will prove people wrong. And despite the course I've bought, despite the education I have, I will not blame it on my educator. I will not, despite the incompetence of the education, I will find a way. And that's why you have these courses. In fact, every course you go to, if you find any mentor online, any guru, whatever you look at, they will always have a few people that are funded. They'll always have somebody that made a payout. And that's because that's just the law of averages. That's just the law of population, that you will always have in a sample size of 100 people, 1,000 people, you'll always have one person that makes it. That just has a winner's mindset. So if you have one of these gurus that have 5,000 members, of course 3 of them have a payout, because you will always have in a large cohort a small sample size of hyper successful individuals. And that's not because of the inputs, that's not because of the course, that's not to do with the information, it's to do with the framework and mindset that they have of I will prove everyone wrong despite the odds because I have a winner's mindset. And that is going to be someone like Roger Bannister, who's attacked this 4-minute mile goal and actually broke that barrier. And then what came after that? After Roger broke the 4-minute mile, well, then a lot of people started to break the 4-minute mile. Never in the history of mankind did the 4-minute mile get broken. And then the moment Roger broke it, well, then soon after, another person broke it and another and another. And then since then, people have even surpassed his world record. And now we see people breaking the 4-minute mile quite regularly. And obviously, we could talk about how nutrition has got better and sports science has got better and maybe steroids, who knows. But the reality is, no one was able to break it. And then once he broke it, it became a domino effect. And then many people started to break that. And that's because not only did he break a record, he broke a psychological barrier that many held. And that brings us on to level 2. And this next one is considered positive passive. So they're not actively chasing a goal. They're basically saying, okay, if he did it, then I can do it. This is still an A player. This is still a winner's mindset. They are just kind of like second. So they basically look around and say, okay, if I join a mentorship, if I join a course, if they have successful people, then okay, then I can do it too. They're going to be like, I'm going to be in that percentage of people that make it work from this course. So it's still an aggressive winner's mindset that to have. These two are the winner's mindset that you need to have. And no matter what course you go into, no matter what trading education you go into, you need to have this mindset for it to work out. Now, the other 3 that I'm going to list, you're going to start to resonate. You're going to start to say, okay, this one is probably me. This one sounds familiar. And this is what I've been doing so far. And you need to break out of it because you're just going to go from course to course to course. And you won't realize that the issue was you all along. Of course, there is bad courses and bad mentors. In fact, there's a lot of them. But your mindset will shape your reality. And I want you to understand that. So the next one is going to be neutral passive. Now, neutral passive is probably where most people lie. It's where I also used to be. And it's a case of, okay, it's worked for some people. This course, this education has worked for some people. Let's see if it works for me. They are basically going around it like passively, like saying, okay, let's see what happens. Let it happen. Let's see if it works. Well, that also is annoying because it will never work. You will work. You need to address things. You need to apply things. You need to learn. So when you have this passive mindset, it's always going to be, okay, let me see if someone can do the work for me. And this is a dangerous place to be in because we are on the borderline to basically say, I don't want to take accountability. I really don't want to put in that much hard work. I'll put in work, but not that much. And I'd rather just pass the blame. And I'd rather just shift the blame and just say, it was the course that didn't work. Or it worked for some people, but it doesn't work for everyone. It happens. You'll always come up with an excuse. And you will always just have a let's see approach as opposed to I will make it work approach. And that small difference is the difference between an average guy in the schooling system, an average guy in a course, an average guy in the trading industry, and those who win, those who dominate, those who take over. The next framework is negative passive. And these guys are basically saying, it might work for some people, but it won't work for me. They're already coming in saying, it probably won't work for me. And the reason is because a lot of people in this generation are snowflakes. They think they are special. They think they are different. They think they have these learning conditions. I have ADHD. I get distracted easily. Things don't work for me. That doesn't really happen in my town. It doesn't happen in my school, in my neighborhood. They use the race card. They use the religion card. They use the immigrant card. They use any card that they can to basically say I'm different, and things don't usually work out for me. I never really have good luck. And they're just always like, well, there's two examples that come to mind when of this mindset. And as you know, I've been doing public signals. For the last 7 months now, I've been giving every single one of my trades live ahead of time, posting it for free on Twitter. I give my entry, I give my stop loss, I give the full trade analysis, I give my break-even protocol, and I give in my take profit levels. So as live, as transparent, as real as it can get, real time, can't be faked, can't be manipulated, because it's all there in the public domain. And if I edit things, it will say edited. If I delete tweets, well, there's a lot of people, literally, some of my signals get 100,000 views. And if I deleted a losing trade, people would call me out. People would show like, hey, Waqar is deleting tweets. Not a single person can call me out on it because it's as real as it gets. And in this 6-month, 7-month window, I've given over 60 trades, over 60 signals. I'm sitting at around 55% gain, profit, wins and loss included, with risk management. So that's like a documentation of a profitable equity curve. And I've also gone through the winning periods, gone through the losing periods. I've gone through an 8th trade losing period. And I've publicly said I have a 50% win rate. Now, another thing that you'll notice, it's also a masterclass in account management. When you start a new account, or when I started this project of public signals, I came in and I decided I have a 50% win rate, yes, but I don't want to start off with a 50% win rate, because what if I start off with 3 losers and I enter a drawdown publicly? So I thought, let me stick to my A+ setups, let me stick to my higher probability, higher confluence trades, and build a buffer. So I'm going to have a 75% win rate, stick to the high quality setups, and they're going to be less frequent. But when I've built a 10-20% profit buffer, then I can increase my trade frequency, take more trades. As a result, I will take my A+ setups and some A setups, some B+ setups. I will not take the best setups. I'll introduce more setups because I want to play the risk-reward game. So my win rate in a controlled way went from 75% down to 60%, and I think right now I'm sitting at around 55%. So as a result, I'm taking more losses publicly. And what I noted, there's one guy in my comments, I forgot his name, and he's always there and he's always getting likes. And there's this guy that basically says, he's always made a running joke now, and people have recognized the running joke that, oh man, I only take Waqar's trades when it's a loss. And when it's a winning trade, I don't take it, or I'm not on the charts, or I miss it, or it's just my luck. It's just, I always take the losing trades. Ha ha ha. I'm the one that's always taking the losses. Okay, and for a moment it's funny, but when you think about it, what kind of a mental framework does he have? He has a victim mentality. He has a life happens to me mentality. He has a I'm unfortunate, I'm special, I'm the one that has the bad luck because it always happens to me. I always take the losing trades. He might have taken a couple winning trades, but who knows? But he just so happens. Also, it is luck, it's bad luck, but it's the mindset that's more important because he's going out his way to comment about it. And the reality is there's nothing special about that. It's just, it happened. But the mindset is screaming, I'm a victim and I always have bad luck. Another example that comes to mind of this mindset of negative passive, that it might work for some people. You can see the public signals, but it doesn't work for me because I'm different. As a trader, it's very simple. You have to find an edge and then you have to have a mind so you can follow that edge. But how do you know if you're performing correctly or not? You have to know your data. And TradeZeller is going to show you everything that you need beyond the surface level win rates and performance and equity curve. It's going to show you detailed reports. It's going to be your backtesting tool, strategy testing tool, playbooks, notes, and it's going to be a full journal. It makes your journaling easier, faster, and more meaningful. Whereas if you were just documenting it on an Excel spreadsheet or taking screenshots on your iPhone, you wouldn't be able to pull out the data that you need, the correlations that the AI within TradeZeller is pulling out for you. There's so much variety and utility within the software that I think it's essential for any trader. So the link somewhere below is going to take you directly to the TradeZeller website. I'm not getting paid. This is for you. If you want it, if you like it, go ahead and explore it, and probably you'll be using it for years to come. As you know, as you maybe don't know because I never promote it, but I don't believe in courses anymore. I don't sell courses, but I believe in education. But I think education has to be done in a specific way, especially high-level education for something as advanced as trading with so many things to unpack. And courses will never do it. And the reality is, deep down, you've watched enough courses and it hasn't worked for you most likely. And the reason is because courses are never the answer. It's the mindset you have to approach information and also the way that the information is delivered. And I think the most effective way is a consulting. It's a 6-month intensive consulting where someone can hold your hand and walk you through the process and on an individual basis show you where you're going wrong. Go through your trades, go through your journal, go through how you've learned the theory and how you're applying it. It's application based because winners and profitable traders are not made in the classroom. They're not made in theory land. They're not made in lecture land. They are made in the markets, in application. So one thing is knowing theory, and we see these guys on Twitter that are just these like theory nerds in trading. They know everything about everything, all the ICT concepts and all the fancy terminology and all the turtle soup this and sweep that and OTE and all these things that I hear, fair value gap and this and that. Look, there is good information, sure, but traders are made in application. And if you are one of those self-help junkies, those terminology specialists, those Twitter nerds basically, that are so focused on being right as opposed to being profitable, well, you have something to address. And the reality is profitable traders are made in application of specific theory. You don't need a huge sample size of theory. To have one profitable setup that has like 5 rules, that is so easy to learn and it's so simple to apply, but you just need to be restricted enough to follow it. So if you just have a specific trade model, for example, pro trend supply zone on a higher time frame, refine down to M15. Find the M1 inducement inside your POI. Once you've identified your POI, wait for an Asia range to develop right below it. And then wait for a smart money trap to develop and wait for an inducement into your refined POI in your London open session and wait for an M1 break of structure and take that trade. That is a high quality trade. And all of you probably understood what I just said. And if you didn't understand it right away, if you researched it for about 5 minutes, you will know exactly what I just said. The theory is not hard. It's how you apply the theory. And the problem is people will take POIs, take refinements, take entry criteria, take inducements, and mix it into a cocktail of chaos and lead to nothing. And they'll lead to sporadic results and sporadic trades and applying things all over the place. And what they'll do is they'll take some theory, throw it at the wall and see what sticks. And the next day, take a little bit more theory and throw it in a different way, see what sticks. That's the approach of majority of traders. That's an incorrect approach. If you just stick to a model, follow the model, you will be a profitable trader. It's very simple. Have one profitable model and wait for that to appear. The problem is it won't appear often and we get itchy and our emotions and a lot of things get in the way. So meaning to say, it's so important to know information, but it's even more so important to know how to apply information, application, implementation, market experience, market IQ, the nuance of day-to-day price action. Do you know how to navigate the differences that appear every day based on a theory baseline? How can you use that theory on a day-to-day circumstance that is going to be changing and fluctuating every day? You need someone to come and show you every single day, price action did this, our theory says this is the correct way to apply it. And do that every single day for 6 months. That is the only way I believe to truly learn. So that's a 6-month cohort that I have, and that's the only education I provide. And it's super specialized. It's super hard to get in. And because I'm working hand in hand with people for 6 months, it's relying on my time. I have to show up. It's not just pre-recorded courses. So therefore, I can't take on 1,000 people. And therefore, I have a strict application process. And I'm not exaggerating. I have a whole team that is there to reject 99% of people, interview the people, and then handpick the best people that I know that they see are going to be effective learners that will apply themselves correctly. Because if I show up for 6 months, I need someone else to show up and do the work that I tell them to do. And therefore, it's very hard to find these winner mindsets. And my team is literally their job to find the correct people. I'm not interested in your money. I'm not interested in thousands and thousands of students because I think it's not effective. But I did have a member a while ago before I really introduced this strict criteria to get in. And he went through my program and he basically started saying, Waqar, this doesn't work. So I said, okay, interesting. He was basically saying, okay, it might work for some people. I can see people have made payouts, people have got funded. I can see all the people around you in this program that are getting funded, whatever. But he was like, it doesn't work. And it doesn't work for me. So I quickly looked. I have a custom app. And inside my app, the WWA Vault, I can see in there how much somebody has watched the videos. And I can also see through my educators, I can see have they been doing the homeworks. We had a weekly homework going on for months and months and months. And then I checked in and I saw, okay, he's not watched all of the videos. He's not watched all of the day-to-day price action updates and all of the trades we take. and he never really checked into the homeworks. So I asked him, hey man, you haven't really watched the videos and you haven't really done any of the homeworks. And he was like, yeah, but I know, I got a grasp of things. I know how it works. I basically got the gist of it. And after a little bit of back and forth, I basically realized that he was just blaming the system for not working, even though he wasn't following it. And he was stuck in this thing of, oh yeah, it doesn't work. And I've tried my best. I'm a smart guy. I've applied myself. I've been trading for years and years and I know how things work. This system doesn't work. Like I said to him, if you don't apply things as I say, if you don't do as we teach, if you're not following the curriculum, heck, if you're not even watching the curriculum, how do you expect to have the results that you desire? And then after a bit more back and forth, I just said, hey, do you just want me to say it's my fault? Do you just want me to say, hey, look, yeah, the course doesn't work. Yeah, none of this is real. Yeah, you are right. You are right. This doesn't work. It wasn't you. It was me. Yes. And when I said it like that, he was like, "Ugh." Then he went back to things and started to address things correctly. But the point being, it's the mindset that was the issue. And so many people are stuck in this victim mentality. And it's not just a case of let's see what happens. It's a case of this doesn't work. And you come in with a skeptical mindset. And to be honest, if you've seen how I do the podcast with people, there are traits of this within me also. Because of what I've seen in life and also the amount of scammers I've seen, the amount of fake gurus I've seen, the fake successful people, especially in Dubai, I always come to people skeptical first. And you see me when I interview people, I always poke and ask tough questions and press on certain areas to see what they're about. Can they hold their position? Can they defend their view? Are they real? Are they really got experience? And there's a guy that I met. I'm not going to say his name, but I have a very strong relationship with AP. AP is a watch brand. I have another watch on today, but yeah, AP Madrid is where I built my collection for AP, and there's a client there who comes from a very successful family. So he's about my age, but his family comes from hospital money. They literally own hospitals in the US, and he's hyper successful. The family is worth tens and tens of millions. They have Bugattis, Ferraris. In AP alone, they spend more than $1 million. And when I see him and how he navigates life, and he sends me profiles of people like, hey, what do you think of this guy? Should I invest with this guy? He sends me all kind of gurus and all kind of people because he's just seen life in a frame of he's only met his dad and his dad's friends and his neighborhood, which is full of hyper successful, legit successful people, big businessmen that are worth tens or hundreds of millions of dollars. So his worldview is people make it work. People are successful. And if someone says they're doing that, it's probably because that is legit. I don't come from that background. I don't know that many successful people. I know a lot of fake successful people. I know a lot of pretenders. I know a lot of scammers that I've seen around on the internet. So my framework is, yeah, this usually doesn't work. But when I speak to him, he's just running around life like, yeah, everyone, that guy's making money, this guy's making money. And it's very interesting to observe the difference in mentality. And when we take that approach into learning, you will also bring that same level of optimism or skepticism into your education. Despite paying someone, you can come in and pay someone and think it's going to work, but you might think of it as like, it might work, or this will work, or I will win. And that is an approach you need to correct. And then the last one is negative active. So they're not passive, they are active like the first one, the best level, but they are negative active. They're not positive active. So they have the active part, but they are active in the wrong way. They are going out of their way to saying, this doesn't work, this will not work for me, and I can prove it. And I'm going to go out of my way to prove it. And these kind of people are just one flick of the switch away from being positive, active, and hyper successful, but they are just stuck in the wrong framework. And for example, if you have, let's say, those people that are just lifelong overweight, and they basically say, oh, I've got these issues with my thyroid and hormonal things, and I will always be fat. And I just eat salads and I'm fat. And I could go to the gym every day and starve myself and I'd still be fat because I have this thing. And they will go out of the way to say, look, I'm going to the gym every day, I'm still not losing weight, whatever. They'll go out of the way to prove it. And these kind of people are very toxic, but the reason that they are going to be there is because they are the ultimate victim. They are the ultimate scapegoat, and they would rather blame everyone else apart from themselves because their mindset is deeply ingrained with their belief systems and their self-identity. And if you carry a self-identity and a belief system so strongly, it's very painful and it's very difficult for you to address it and say, hey, this was probably my fault the whole way. I don't, and it's very hard to take accountability. It's very easy to just say, yeah, this doesn't work and scapegoat the whole thing. And we can go into examples, but the reality is most of you are probably not in that one, but you should identify where you are. And most of you are going to be in the area of, this might work for some people, but let's see if it works for me. Or this might work for some people, but probably won't work for me. And maybe some of you that have a slight winner's mindset say, okay, this works for some people. I will try and make it work for me. If you can just break yourself into a winner's mindset of, I can do this, and break a limiting belief to say, okay, if some people have made it work from this, why can't it be me? Why am I different? No, you're not different. You can do it. You can be that 1% person in a curriculum, in a community. And the reality is, a law of averages, every community will have winners. Every community will have successful students in there. So you just need to take the most out of education, whatever education may be. And you need to have a filtering process. So the other mistake people make is wasting a lot of time, effort, and money and resources in bad education. So you need to have an identification process on knowing where to invest your money in a legitimate person. And maybe in another video, if you guys want it, let me know in the comments. I can speak about how to find someone legit and where to invest your money so that you don't have to pay twice or 3 times or 10 times. Rather, you pay just once or twice for real quality education from legitimate people and what kind of infrastructure they have. So we'll save that for another time. But where I want to take this episode next is how to spend your payouts. Let's say you fixed your learning approaches, you fixed your approach to growth, you fixed your limiting beliefs. There's so many things to address, and every episode that I do solo, I'm going to tackle all of the issues that you will be facing that no one speaks about. And the only reason I can speak about them is because I spend a lot of time thinking, studying, learning, and doing. And because I've been trading for 8 years and I had the same journey as all of you, we start off all in the same place. We go from course to course, to mentorship, from YouTube video to YouTube video, from leaked Telegram courses, whatever it may be. But we all have the same journey. And because I've navigated it all, I've seen it all, done it all, tried it all, I can speak to what works and what worked for me. And hopefully within that, there's lessons for you too. But the one thing that I also see that no one speaks about is how to spend your money. So once you finally become profitable, which is a long journey, and you start to make a lot of money, and I hope and pray all of you do, well, the reality is, I'm probably speaking to 10 of you here. Out of the thousands of people that watch this, probably only 10 of you that are really going to get to this point, and I hope that annoyed you. I hope that sentence made you angry, because I want you to leave these videos not feeling happy and fuzzy and, oh, okay, I'm not focusing on working and backtesting and doing what I need to do. I'm watching Waqar's videos and I'm productive, whatever. No, you need to feel emotion. You need to feel aggressively towards your goals and go and attack them. And therefore my job partly is to shake you and say, hey man, wake up and do what you need to do. Don't just come to my videos and watch them and feel like you're productive and then come back next week and do it all again. Because so few people get there, because so few people make profit, and because it's so hard to make profit, I see the same pattern happen every time. We struggle for years and years and make no money. In fact, lose a lot of money. That the moment we finally make a withdrawal, wow, it's a triumph of a generation. We are so high, we are so emotional, we are so happy, we feel such a sense of achievement. Well, the reality is, if you got a paycheck in your job, would you be celebrating? No. It's not an achievement. It's what you came to do. It's required. And when you finally get there, don't enter the traps, don't enter the pitfalls, especially because we all entered this trading game probably because of social media, probably because of the people we used to follow when we first started. And those people that we used to follow when we first started trading, they all showed us lifestyle. They all had the Lamborghini, they all had the fancy life. And therefore, we saw they have a fancy life. I'm very envious. It looks brilliant. How do they live that life? Oh, they're a trader. So therefore, I'm going to trade so that I can make money to live the same life. So notice the problem with this mindset we have coming into the industry is, when I went to uni and my goal was to be a dentist, my goal was not to be a dentist because I saw certain dentists have supercars. And it wasn't a goal to be a dentist because I wanted to go out and buy a Rolex. That's why I'm going to be a dentist. No, I wanted to be a dentist because it was a stable career path. I could apply myself. I could be respected. It's very notable in society to be a doctor. It's a big achievement. So there were so many other things ingrained into my journey. It was stable career, my parents' respect, society's respect, stability, financial growth. There were so many things in there. But when it's trader, it's like, I'm just doing this to be rich, and it's maybe a get rich quick scheme. And that's a problem. Because if we come in with these beliefs, if we come in with these desires, the moment we hit a small increment of success, we jump back to our default. Our primitive brain takes over and says, I need to now go spend and buy a Rolex and do all the other things that the gurus are doing that I got in for. And that's a big mistake, because how reliable is your income? If you've made one payout in your life and then you go below it, do you not think that's maybe very stupid? If you've make a payout maybe 2-3 times in your life and the total value of those payouts were 10K, and then you go buy a Rolex for 10K a day just, do you think that's a smart move? If you made 10K in your normal 9 to 5 job, will you then go throw in on a Rolex? Probably not. So why is the trader's payout and withdrawals perceived differently? And it's an interesting one, but it's not that complicated. And it's simply for that reason of validation. Social media is so hard to get there. So we want to reward ourselves, dopamine, chip on our shoulder, proving people right or proving people wrong, and say, hey, look, this worked out. That's why I have a shiny Rolex. But if we look deeper and we think, okay, what is the actual approach we should take? So I'm going to assume most of you are with prop firms. And with prop firms, it's a wonderful opportunity. It's like the best time to be a trader, because we have the ability to access large capital with just a very simple skill set of 6, 7, or 8% return in once, or do phase 1, phase 2. But for small return, we can access large capital, and that large capital can change our life. And especially if you have multiple funded accounts and you scale to 1 million in capital, well, you can really make a lot of money. So it's an amazing opportunity to be a trader, but don't lose sight of things, because this opportunity only came around in the last few years, and regulations are maybe knocking on the door. Prop firms are collapsing all the time. Maybe the rules are going to change, maybe for the better, maybe for the worse. So you don't want to be passive, and you don't want to be blasé about it and just think, oh, this will always be around. We should be thinking, this is around for now. Let me capitalize it as fast as I can, as much as I can, with the goal being to put it into a personal live account. Because already I see it in my comments. I made a video, the red flags of prop firms, and not the wishy-washy red flags. I went in depth to talk about what are the hidden tricks that prop firms do that you probably haven't never seen or never really thought about. But that's the reason you keep failing challenges, and these are the prop firms to avoid. And it was a long list of characteristics and traits of prop firms to avoid. And already people started to realize, okay, we have like a mindset of tolerance. It's not so bad. And these like trailing drawdown ones. Okay, well, yeah. It forces me to take profit. It forces me to withdraw. Or you can't hold a trade over the weekend. Okay, it's good to take profit. We always cope. We always, yeah, it's okay. But we don't, well, let me tell you, as a trader that's been doing this for 8 years, one small tweak in a refined system can have a domino effect that you don't see. And just a small thing of, I have to close the trade on the weekend, that can be detrimental to your overall profitability without you even noticing it. And a lot of the tricks that these prop firms do, a lot of these hidden rules that prop firms put in place are there to skew your profitability without you realizing. That's why they make a lot of money. So we have to be very careful, and reality is we don't want to be in a prop firm scenario for too long. We should use it so that we can get capital into our live account so we can trade it as the market should be traded without the weird limitations of prop firms. And so therefore, if you are making withdrawals on prop firms and you made 10K, 20K, 50K, don't go and put that into lifestyle. Don't go and have a lifestyle inflation, despite how tempting it is. And believe me, I did it. Believe me, I did the same thing. The moment I made my first 10K, 50K, 100K, I did the same thing that you will probably do and that everyone does. And okay, I was younger back then. I was also a university student back then. I was also a non-conformist. I didn't like being a student. So therefore, what was the first thing that I wanted to do? The moment I made some profit, I did the typical thing was I rock up to my lectures in a nice brand new Range Rover and a fat day-date Rolex, a 30-gram watch. And what did I do after that? Kept buying more and more watches and putting all into my life. And then I pinched myself and said, well, have I retired my loved ones? Have I got a property portfolio? Have I got passive income? Have I got financial stability? And there's so many other things to uncover. So then I woke myself up, and this is what I want to teach you. So we have to consider when we spend our trading profits, it's different because it's not reliable, stable income. And we have a lot more buckets to fill. For example, if you have a job and then you take your salary and then you have your savings, you've paid your mortgage, rent, whatever it may be, whatever's left over is your disposable income. So you can spend it as you want. And if you are a goody-goody society member, that's exactly what you'll do. But the reality is, as a Titans of Tomorrow viewer, someone who is probably a little bit different, you have to realize you have buckets to fill before you can go splash. And those buckets you need to fill, well, first of all, is this idea of rate of replenish. How fast can you replenish the income you made? For example, if I have a property and it brings me $1,000 in rent every month, my rate of replenish is very high. I know every month I'm going to get $1,000 in from my rental payments. Brilliant. If I had a company and I just sold it for $100,000 and I exited the company, that's a one-time event. So therefore, the rate of replenish is zero. That happened once, it won't happen again unless I build a whole company and do it all over again. So when it comes to a salary, you have a high rate of replenish. So you can spend it accordingly because you know next month's salary is coming. And traders spend their profits as if it's a salary because they think the rate of replenish is high. They believe in themselves so much, they get complacent. They think, oh, I did it once, I'm funded, I can make 10% in a month, so this will happen forever. And you think your rate of replenish is higher than it really is. So don't go on your perceived rate of replenish. Go on the reality of my rate of replenish as a trader. Payouts are not going to be all the time. They're going to be rare, they're going to be sporadic, and they're going to be fluctuating in amount. So don't put financial liabilities, don't put burdens on yourself, financial commitments based on income you haven't made, but you think you will make. So first of all, that is the first thing to consider. So whenever you make a payout, I have an 80-20 rule. 80% goes into my buckets, 20% goes into my pockets. So the buckets you need to fill is personal accounts. You need a personal live account that is substantial in size. That is priority number one. Profits should go into there. The moment you're trading a personal live account with the freedom and the rules that you don't need to adhere to, that's control. And you've now unlocked another level of trading, and that's where you need to be. Then when you take payouts from there, withdrawals from that account, then you need to look into investments, passive generation. You need stability in your life to have an income regardless of your trading situation. So I've had an 8 losses in my public signals over like a month, maybe 3 weeks. I still bought watches, I still went on holiday, I still spent a lot of money because it's not my only income. Obviously, this year I've made 50+%, so I've gained a lot of money this year. In fact, in one of my vlogs, I gave a signal, I made 18.5% in a day, showed the MyFX book, showed the proof, showed the live call out, showed the dollar amount, withdrew it, and then went and bought this Patek. So I've got the buffer of the money I've made this year, but I've also got multiple streams of income. Some of them active, some of them passive. You need to invest in things that are going to bring you income despite your trading performance, because you will go through a losing period, as I have. And you still have things to pay for, and you don't want your lifestyle to be fluctuating based on your payouts. That's not financial maturity. Once you have a personal live account, you have passive income, you have investments, then you need to go into cash reserves. Once you have cash reserves, the next thing you need to go into active generation methods, and that's the vehicles I've spoken about in many videos on wealth generation and how to scale from 1 million net worth to 10 to 100. You need vehicles in life, for example, cash flow business or evaluation and exit. There's a whole world in there. But this is how you need to view your journey, and therefore your journey does not end at a 10K payout. Believe me, you should not spend that money. You should follow this process because your rate of replenish is fluctuating, and therefore you need to have a different level of financial approach to payouts as opposed to a salary. And at this point, just for context, because you can do it, you can be in my position, all of you really, because I'm nothing special, but I've got at this point $1.3 million in watches. I've got a lot of money in property. I've got money in cars. I've got money in cash reserves. I've got a little bit of money in crypto. I've got businesses that generate me money. I've got a personal brand. I've got a podcast. I've got 20 employees that I have a payroll for. So I've got a lot of things moving in my life. And this all happened from my university dorm room as a normal person. And therefore, life can change quick, but you need a plan and you need an approach, and you need to have a winner's mindset. You need to know how to learn. You need to know how to work. You need to know how to break limiting beliefs, skills, traits, and beliefs, as I speak about. And then you need to know how to navigate the vehicles of life. And all of these things are super important. And my favorite saying, and I want you to remember this as you go into the markets for the coming week, a restricted trader is a profitable trader.